24. You are now watching A New Era in News with Kim Seabrook. And in first news, we're going to talk about New York. What's going on in New York City? Naked Brooklyn mom tosses her newborn 2-year-old out the window before jumping herself. A deranged Brooklyn mom, tired of being by herself, allegedly tossed her newborn baby daughter and 2-year-old son out of a second-floor apartment window Saturday morning, then dove out and continued her crazed attack until a hero neighbor jumped in to save the kids. A witness and police told us that information the other evening. The three were naked when they went out the window, according to stunned viewers. The shocking incident happened at around 11:20 a.m. in 178 Rockaway Parkway near Kings Highway in Brownsville, where the unidentified 24-year-old woman allegedly threw the 4-week-old girl out the window and a 2-year-old boy out of the building's second-floor rear window and then jumped out herself. Police stated the neighbor Carl Chin, 41, who lives in a nearby row house. He said he heard the thud of the baby hitting the ground. When she, the mother, lands on the floor, she didn't go unconscious. She was still aware. She grabbed hold of the two kids and proceeded to hurt them. Hurt them more, actually, Chin told us. The mom was allegedly banging the newborn's head on the concrete. And Chin, who said he raced out of his house, jumped over the fence, and then decided to struggle with her to take the newborn from her. She had the baby in her grip, and he said, I had to take the baby out of her grip and hold her until the police decided to come and the paramedics came as well. As she was trying to hurt her children and I was getting them out of her grip, she kind of thanked me and told me to take care of them. Then she proceeded to talk about how she was tired of being by herself. Added Chin, I don't think she intentionally meant to hurt her kids because I didn't see any signs of anger. She didn't have any facial expression. She didn't say anything to the kids at all. The harrowing incident left Chin's sister-in-law, Shadika Harrison, 36, grasping for words. The newborn was taken to Maimonides Hospital in critical condition, and police stated that the woman and the 2-year-old were taken to Brookdale Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. According to the NYPD, police stated that the investigation was ongoing and no charges have been filed against the mom as of Saturday night. And that is the end of that story. Tragic story, and hoping that everything works out well for the kids, including the mom. Next, New York City's Washington Square Park sees another night of violence, chaos. Violence continued to spiral out of control on Saturday in and around Washington Square Park, where anti-cop graffiti was scrawled on its arch. A man beaten and robbed of his cell phone, 2 others knifed in a wild brawl, and an elderly cook left bloodied after a vicious morning attack at a neighborhood diner. The chaos around the Greenwich Village Park left at least 6 injured, a 27-year-old charged with felony assault, as residents and law enforcement alike pleaded for an end to the anarchy. The perps run this town, one disgusted NYPD source told us in the wake of the latest madness. It is scary to walk around New York City streets. It has gotten so bad that daylight doesn't scare the bad guys. The pandemonium at the Washington Square Diner began around 9:45 a.m. when an unhinged man flew into a despotic rage when he was asked to leave the restaurant located on 6th and West 4th. The man, identified by cops as Gregory Conwell, 27, of Red Hook, Brooklyn, allegedly shoved a 77-year-old cook into a plate glass window and then ran off to the park, where 3 brave employees found and held him until the cops arrived. And one more news in New York City. There's a lot going on in New York City. The 1% of salaries of New York City's elite private school principals who push woke, weaning critical race theory on their students. This is a very interesting story. I had to bring this up. So head teachers at an elite New York City private schools where parents are up in arms about critical race theory lessons are earning salaries in excess of $1 million a year. School tax filings obtained by Bias revealed that 7 schools heads took home more than $1 million each in total compensation in the year ending June 30 of 2020. Another 3 broke the $900,000 benchmark putting them all in the nation's top 1% of earners. Their hefty salaries come amid a growing number of controversies at several of the elite New York City prep schools, where some parents and teachers have complained about the woke ideology being taught to children. They have accused the schools of woke weaning by the kids by indoctrinating them with critical race theory lessons from an early age. The head of the school, Jane Foley Freed, was paid $939,622, including a salary of $707,888, $87,500 in a bonus, and housing and maid service value at $98,000. Dalton's Jim Best took home slightly less than $937,000 total compensation, including a salary of $888,000. And the first and arguably the most prestigious to be hit with a critical race theory scandal last year. Best announced in April he is stepping down this year after being slammed by parents for pushing an obsessive anti-racism agenda on students. His resignation came after a group of Dalton parents penned an anonymous open letter to the school describing an obsessive focus on race and identity. The school was embroiled in further controversy this month as parents fumed that its health and wellness educator, Justine Ang-Fonte, showed first grader sex educational videos that appear to include information about masturbation. I covered that story a little bit earlier this month. Yes, so that's what's going on in that school. Now, I always say that teachers need to get paid more, but I think that is a little excessive. Let's see what else is going on in New York City. Next, we have New York City Park Recreation Centers to begin reopening starting Monday. Several on Staten Island included. New York City Park Recreation Centers will enter the first phase of reopening beginning Monday. The Parks Department announced the locations on Staten Island set to reopen include centers at the Greenbelt Lions Pool in Tompkinsville, Faber Park in Port Richmond, and the Ocean Breeze Track and Field Athletic Complex. The first phase will ensure proper social distancing and will only be open to members who were active as of March 2020, when everything shut down as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. New policies are being implemented to keep members safe. Each center will operate under a reduced capacity and require mask wearing at all times. The equipment at the location has been rearranged to promote social distancing. In addition, shared equipment will be cleaned frequently. Recreation centers sit at the heart of so many communities, providing New Yorkers of all ages the chance to participate in athletics and a variety of other programming, said Mayor de Blasio. During the pandemic, many of the recreation centers across New York City were used for pandemic-related services, such as testing and vaccination sites. The Greenbelt Lions and Faber Recreation Centers are set to open Monday, June 14th, while Ocean Breeze is set to reopen on June 23rd. Although the recreation centers are set to open, all indoor pools will still remain closed to the public. Next, doctors demand Carolina governor slash planet warming emissions from factory farms. A group of doctors is urging Carolina Governor Henry McMaster to slash the planet warming emissions caused by factory farming. The Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine is a nonprofit featuring 17,000 doctors. It has constructed 3 billboards near McMaster's residence that will remain posted until July 4th. Susan Levin is the Director of Nutrition Education for PCRM. She said to address the climate crisis, sea level rise, and flooding, South Carolina should also offer incentives to farmers who'd like to transition from the raising livestock to growing food crops. Methane from factory farms is a potent planet warming gas, but it's relatively short-lived. So reducing emissions now could help slow global warming. Switching to plant-based protein like black-eyed peas grown in South Carolina would also help people prevent diabetes, heart disease, and other life-threatening conditions. Earlier this year, the Biden-Harris administration was urged to phase out factory farming and pump funding into vegan agriculture. Nonprofit Farm Sanctuary called for agriculture to shift to a just and sustainable system. It also highlighted the distrust effectives of industrial animal agriculture in a letter sent to the politicians. It says large-scale animal production devotes inordinate amounts of land to animal feed production and is leading contributor to our planet's greatest threats, including the loss of biodiversity and the climate crisis. Crowding animals together by the tens of thousands on massive factory farms increases the risk of uncontrollable outbreaks of infectious disease that could jump to humans, spurring future pandemics. We urge your administration to stop enabling this destructive and inequitable system by taking steps toward a more resilient and equitable food system. Now that is some good news for you. And let's see what else we have. Here's a good one. So next I want to talk about what are the benefits of sea moss, because I have had another show. I was discussing that people were complaining about people who take sea moss, but they're not taking the knowledge of what's going on. So here's an article I found, and they want to know what are the benefits of sea moss. Everything you need to know about this vegan superfood, also known as Irish sea moss, carrageen, and Chondrus crispus, a type of red algae packed with vitamins and minerals. This intriguing superfood is having its moment under the spotlight. Key figures in the nutritional industry, as well as celebrities, even Kim Kardashian, are raving about its health benefits. Sea moss also has Caribbean roots. Historically, it was used to cure disease and as a form of protection. Now it is esteemed in the health industry, often referred to as nature's multivitamin. This is why. It is packed with iron, magnesium, calcium, potassium, vitamins A, D, and E, and so on. Additionally, it's high in protein and has a low caloric index. Plus, it hikes libido, improves metabolism, and it aids your gut health. So what that means is that it gives you energy, it also helps you lose weight, and it cleans out your toxins that are in your belly. And the list continues. So what can this plant-based superfood do for our health? And what is sea moss? So put simply, sea moss is a type of seaweed with many purposes. You can find it along the coastlines in Ireland, Europe, North America. Extracts are used as a plant-based alternative to gelatin. So what that means, it starts off as seaweed that you get from the ocean, and then you have to make it into a gel form for you to consume it, okay? So it is packaged and bottled around the globe. Yes, it is. By Smacked Off Sea Moss also does it as well. More recently, it has become a popular health food with growing interest, mushrooming online. A wealth of tablets. It comes in tablets, gels, soaps, and even honey. Packaged sea moss as a mood-boosting, disease-busting whole food. Not always used as a health food, it can certainly find its way into products. It is used as a thickener, stabilizer, and emulsifier in skincare products, plant milks, and yogurts as well. Sea vegetables and seaweed contain a range of fiber and phytonutrients. These nutrients are typically found in soil plants, and research indicates a diet that includes seaweed may help reduce the risk of developing chronic certain types of diseases. But unfortunately, I have to go into break. We're going to come back into sea moss. I do have a health segment coming up with a special guest, and you're watching Millennium TV 24. I'll be right back.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
I can't hear you if you're talking to me. Oh, okay. Uh, Hey. Hey, we're back. Oh gosh, I didn't even see it. I'm over here waving. Miss Bernadette Henry, she's there. She's in the studio with us. I got so excited. I'm sorry, guys. Welcome back to Millennium TV 24. I am with Bernadette Henry of Make It Fun NYC. Bernadette, are you in the building? Yes, you are. What's going on? Nope.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was making sure we didn't have no sound issues this week. Everything is sounding great. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes, absolutely. So I wanted to bring you on, Bernadette, because you are just like a huge influence in the community. You know, you do this jump rope thing. I don't want to call it a jump rope thing, but it's a thing because not everybody can do it. And the way you do it, you do it with a smile, and then you got this little head nod going on, but you teach classes. Talk about Make It Fun NYC and how did it come into existence?
Okay, yes. So I've been jumping since a little girl. I was born and raised in the Bronx, and I lived a part of the time in Harlem and went to school out in Harlem for my elementary through high school career. And basically living in the Bronx, Harlem, all we did was go outside and play. So at the time, we didn't have phones, we didn't have games, we didn't have all of these different distractions. We literally went outside and played. We had the ball games, we had the jump rope. We just had so many things that we had going on for ourselves. So my thing was the jump rope. And basically I did like a lot of double dutching, a lot of straight rope games. And I don't remember the single rope, but I have two memories of it. So one was when I was in the 6th grade. I used to go outside all the time, try to jump. I used to fall all the time. And my mom used to yell out the window, stop, stop, stop.
Wow.
And then my second memory was when I was in junior high school. We had a contest to see who could do as many jumps in a minute or do the most jumps in a minute. And I did 240 jumps in a minute's time. And I won. And that was when my interest was really elevated for the single rope.
Nice. Hey, it's okay. We love the kids. Don't worry about it. Which one is that one in the background?
This is TJ.
Hey, TJ. I know you,
You're
sweetheart.
on TV.
How you doing? You're on Millennium TV 24. And you know the great thing that that your son pops in, you do incorporate your kids into your jump rope lifestyle. How does that work with them? What do they get out of it?
They just like watching their mom. I have 3 children, so their ages 13, 11, and he's going to be 5 this week.
Okay.
And they just like it. So my oldest, he's had a jump rope handle in his hand since he was about his age. He used to just hold it.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's the little show off. Yes, we know the 13-year-old show off in the classes.
Yes.
He's great. I'm just making jokes. Go ahead, Bert.
Thank you. And he's had the rope in his hand since he was a very little kid. And he just likes it. He enjoys it. My 11-year-old, he'll do it from time to time. And then my 4-year-old, he actually likes it as well. So he'll jump from time to time as well. And I had the contest in 7th grade, and then my next memories were when I was 19 years old as an adult. My jump rope style or my raw jump rope skills were developed by 2 professional boxers, Michael Olajide Sr. And Stephen Johnson. And basically, I just made jumping part of my gym routine. It was just fun. And I remember in 2014, I received an email or a Facebook inbox from the producers at Dr. Oz Show, and they wanted to know if they could show one of my treadmill workouts. But I was dancing salsa on the treadmill.
Yes.
And yes, I was.
I know.
So I said,
How
yes,
did you do that? Like, what made you come up with dancing on a treadmill?
because I just like to have fun, and everything is around music. So
Okay.
music drives everything. And even that story is funny. Like there was a song, I forgot the name of the song, but it was just like a fun song. And I started doing like the dances, and someone asked me I asked someone like, who is this song by? And they said Mark Anthony. So that's when I like really started listening to Mark Anthony. And that's when I ran into Aguilera. I can't pronounce it properly. But then I started dancing salsa on the treadmill. And then I started doing the other song that he has about my life, Vivi Mi Vida.
Okay.
And I started just doing like a lot of cardio, and I just had several different songs. And so the day before I went on Dr. Oz show, my friend said, "Hey, look, we need to find a name for you," and we just decided make it fun. And because the person at the time was helping me, everything for her ended at NYC. It was Make It Fun NYC.
That's
and when I got to the Dr. Oz show, you know how you're on TV, you mainly deal with the producers, and the producer, Dr. Oz, when he introduced me, he said, "Hey, Bernadette is here to show us how to make our workout fun." And I said, "Wow, confirmation," because he knew nothing about Make It Fun.
Wow.
He just knew he was going to learn how to dance on the treadmill.
Wow, that is so interesting. That is always confirmation always happens when something great is definitely supposed to manifest. So that's dope. That's good news. That's good. So what do we have going on? You have your jump rope classes every other Sunday in person and also online, right? Give us some feedback on that.
Okay, so I teach jump rope classes in person twice a month. I was doing this for several years consistently. When the pandemic started, of course, I kind of stopped teaching in person and did everything online. And the reason I restarted the classes back in February was because you was like, "Look, I can't deal with this online life." So I said, "Okay, we're going to resume my in-person classes." And I actually had like clients that were already with me that wanted to come, and then as well as the new clients that's coming in. And so I teach the in-person classes, and I like the in-person just because I have that interaction, I have that community, and I like the fact that a lot of the people that do come into my classes, they actually remain friends with each other. I actually see them communicating with each other on Facebook. Yes. They're exchanging phone numbers, and it's such a great community that they're not just coming to a class, jumping, sweating, and then leaving, and then that's it. They're actually building and forming a community, whether they come, every time or not. It's okay. You've made a bond, and it's just a great bond. And then I have other online services. So I have like the one-on-ones in line and in person. I have a exclusive jump rope club where they can come in, they can ask questions. I give them tutorials. I run challenges. And then I'm doing like wellness coaching as well, because I believe that physical, mental, and emotional wellness, they work hand in hand. And a lot of times when you're like, maybe for the females over 40 out there, there's much more to lose than just the weights on your body. There's physical weights, there's emotional weights, and you're never going to get to that desired physical state until you deal with the whole self.
Absolutely. You could go to the gym all you want, but if you still have all those other things going on, especially mentally and emotionally, your physical is it's not going to match up. So I agree with you. I'm glad you're providing that information to, our people. Now, I know a huge question that a lot of people ask you is about their knees. What about my knees? Well, what about my knees? What information can you give people who are scared to jump because they're scared they're going to hurt themselves because they have knee issues?
Yes, and I'm not a medical doctor, and this is not medical advice. However, jumping rope can be safer than running and jogging, because with running and jogging, you have to lift with such force. You have to lift up, put down, lift up, put down. When you're jumping, you're literally only supposed to jump high enough to clear the rope, because the jump rope is a thin piece of material. This is not a jump rope, but a jump rope is usually like this thin, as thin as this cord here. You're not jumping over a box. You're not jumping over a fence. You're not jumping over any of that. So general precautions is to make sure you're jumping on the correct surface. So jumping on wood or rubber turf, jump with the correct shoes. So the correct shoes would be like maybe a running shoe or a cross trainer that provides shock resistance. You want to jump with maybe compression socks. It helps to increase the recovery time or decrease the recovery time, and it helps with the blood flow. You want to strengthen the muscles around your knees, because all of it plays a part. So your hamstrings, your quads, your hips, and your glutes. All of these things are safety precautions that you can take, and only jump high enough to clear the rope, and just do enough. Don't go out here on the internet and look at what everybody's doing and now try to do it, because then yes, you're going to hurt yourself, especially if your body is not prepared. And so a couple of months ago, I did a podcast with the Upgrade guys, and they provide mobility training, and they actually prepare your bodies for pre, post, and strengthening for any exercise. Because, a lot of times I tell people 10 minutes of jump rope is equivalent to a 30-minute jog on a treadmill at 6.5 miles an hour, and everybody runs to go get a rope, but then their bodies are not prepared.
Right.
So it's kind of like you went from this lifestyle of not doing anything to now taking on this thing because you heard it was so great. So out of that podcast, me and the Upgrade guys actually put together a course, and it's called Jump Rope Prep for Recovery. It actually starts tomorrow, and basically they did the mobility, so they help you prepare your body for jumping rope, they help you recover from jumping rope, and they help you to strengthen the necessary muscles in your body to maintain this physical activity. And then I provide the jump rope skills.
I'm just laughing because your energy is like always on 1,000. Like I've been to, like we said, several of your classes. I'm the one who helped you bring it back. Say, come on, let's bring it back because I'm tired of the online thing. But your energy, Bernadette, like even when you talk, it's like I got all this energy. Where do you get it from? Then how does your husband keep up with you? Because he look like he's the cool, calm one.
You probably think I'm crazy like everybody else. He's very calm.
That's what's up. So Bernadette, what has been the most, like the highlight of your career? What was the highlight of your career so far?
I would honestly say really impacting the lives, like really taking a tool such as jump rope, because this little girl from the Bronx never imagined that I would have a global impact with a jump rope. Who would have ever thought? And it's, I've been featured in several magazines, TV shows, radio shows, and podcasts and things like that. But the greatest impact is just being able to impact people, especially women, people that has lost their sense of confidence, and now they're getting it back. They look at me like, oh my gosh, this plus size girl is out here doing it. She's not ashamed. Let me dust off my gym shoes. Let me go work out. Let me do something. Or for the person that says, oh my gosh, I look at her videos all the time. I can't do that. And then guess what? They do it. So
yes.
Really boosting confidence and women, and letting people know you don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to hold yourself to this standard of what society is saying.
Absolutely.
So I think that the authenticity and the transparency has really helped me, change and transform the lives of many women that were maybe having some issues in these areas.
Right, absolutely. Because I've seen some very slim girls who can't even walk up a full flight of stairs. So yeah, we can't just focus on what the size of the body is. It's the mental and also other things that you have prepared all these years for. So you're capable of doing that, and people can't prepare themselves despite whatever they think that they can't. So I'm glad that you're doing that. Now, Bernadette, you had some history in boxing and also with Floyd Mayweather, right?
Yes, I did.
Talk about that.
Yes, I was a judge for USA Boxing back in, I believe, 2003, 2004. And basically I would go to the amateur fights and I would judge the fights. And so we did like the little fights, we did the big fights, and it was amazing. And then I got into like speaking with the fighters and interviewing the fighters. Nice. And kind of going to the fights and getting kind of that behind the scenes information, which was really good. And then there became a time where I wanted to actually know what it felt like to not really get hit, but like what goes into a boxer's mind when they're preparing for a fight, when they're getting ready, like when they're about to walk into the ring. What are the thoughts? And those are kind of things that no matter how many friends I had in boxing, they couldn't answer for me. It was something I had to do for myself. Wow. So I just, had my experience in doing the boxing.
How was it though? What did you get out of it?
It was fun. Like I just kind of learned how the nerves, the training was really, really good. And the training kind of worked for someone like me that's kind of, I call myself that has gym ADHD. So I can't like really focus. I have to like bounce around. And I really love the boxing workout because you're like 3 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 3 minutes here, 3 minutes there. And it actually gave me a great body. It was like really great at the time. And just the focus, the mindset that you have to have going into it. And I really, really learned why jump rope is the greatest test of your conditioning, because during my first sparring session, it was 3 minutes, but you have to like hold your hands up. You have to offend, you have to do offense, you have to do defense, you have to maintain your breathing, you have to think about what's going on. And it's like in that like 30 seconds, if you're not well conditioned, guess what? You're out of breath. So this is why boxers and your most elite athletes, they do jump rope and jog, because of the standard of conditioning it provides. And yes, it's glorified in boxing, but other athletes do it. Your track stars do it, your basketball players, your golfers, your swimmers. You would be surprised. It's just not glorified in those sports.
Absolutely. You've inspired so many people, and again, obviously myself. When I first seen you and I seen you started jumping rope, I was like following you. As we connected, we talked about this recently, how we connected, and just watching you again, another young girl from the Bronx who loved jumping double dutch and who loved jumping rope. Just to watch you has been very inspiring, and I'm so thankful to share the space with you. Is there any words that you want to give to the other young girls from the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, or just basically all over the world who, give them some advice?
Yes, I just want to say be yourself at all times. Don't look for other people's approvals. If you have someone that you can't trust or talk to about different things that you have going on, find somebody else. You want to have a circle of friends that push you, that encourage you, because once you get around that wrong crowd, sometimes it's hard to get out. Or sometimes, you just feel that you have nobody to talk to, nobody to run to. So you just want to make sure that you surround yourself with good people. Of course, you can't control every single person, but surround yourself with good people, believe in yourself, and live your true, authentic life, because you cannot fake being fake for so long. So really, really be yourself, honor yourself, even if you have to stand alone, because you just never know. Like, being yourself can get you places that trying to fake is not.
Absolutely. Bernadette, as always, we love your energy, but please let them know where they can find you and how they can join you online, in person, etc.
Yes, you can find me basically everywhere at Make It Fun NYC. So www.makeitfunnyc.com, Instagram, Facebook at Make It Fun, Twitter at Make It Fun NYC. And if you're on TikTok, yes, TikTok, jump rope is dope.
Yes, jump rope is definitely dope, especially with Ms. Bernadette Henry of Make It Fun NYC. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll have you on again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
And yes, that was Ms. Bernadette Henry of Make It Fun NYC. We are about to go into a commercial break. You're watching Millennium TV 24, New Era News with Kim Seabrook. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
And welcome back to Millennium TV 24. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. And I definitely want to continue to where we left off before I brought on Ms. Bernadette Henry and talking about the benefits of sea moss. So let's go into that, because as we discuss health, we want to keep it going. So research indicates that a diet that includes seaweed may help reduce the risk of developing chronic diseases, certain types of diseases, including also cancer for you. And it also helps with endometriosis. So if you don't know what endometriosis, it means when your tubes are going outside of your uterus. It helps with the breakdown. It helps with the breakdown of estrogen and can help reduce depression. Definitely does. According to the top plant-based medic, Dr. Michael Greger. Moreover, Greger says consuming seaweed boosts the production of antibodies and T cells, which makes human immune system stronger. So again, this is what many people have started taking it because of the pandemic, because people were afraid of not being able to fight off certain viruses and diseases, including what I'm talking about. So yes, immunity booster. Immunity in the elderly could be boosted if seaweeds are more widely consumed. In addition, we may also see a reduction in infectious diseases. Another study, people found susceptible to developing Parkinson's could experience neurological benefits from consuming sea moss. Different types of sea moss help reduce brain fog and increase cognitive function. It found its antiviral and antioxidant-rich properties have caused people to feel a boost in energy, libido, and better digestion. Sea moss contains almost every mineral the body requires for optimum nutritional support. 83% of all essential nutrients, to be exact. So our body contains 102 minerals. Sea moss contains 92 of those minerals. So think about it. It's encouraged a boom for sea moss as more people open up to functional healing as a way of life. People became more open to talking preventative measures during these unprecedented times. COVID-19 shifted the perception of health on a global scale. So again, yes, sea moss is an amazing product. Just depending on where you get it from, make sure it's clean, make sure they're using make sure they're not adding anything that is not natural, no preservatives or anything of that. So make sure everything is 100% natural when purchasing your sea moss. So next we have waking just 1 hour earlier cuts depression risk by double digits. Study finds waking up just 1 hour earlier could reduce a person's risk of major depression by 23%, suggests a sweeping new genetic study published by May 26th in the journal. JAMA Psychiatric, the study of 840,000 people by researchers at University of Colorado Boulder and the Broad Institute of MIT and Harvard, represents some of the strongest evidence yet the chronotype, a person's propensity to sleep at a certain time, influences depression risk. So it's also among the first studies to quantify just how much a little change is required to influence mental health. As people emerge post-pandemic from working and attending school remotely, a trend that has led many to shift to a later sleep schedule, the findings could have important implications. Previous observational studies have shown that night owls are as much as twice as likely to suffer from depression as early risers, regardless of how long they sleep. But because mood disorders themselves can disrupt sleep patterns, researchers have also had a hard time deciphering what causes what. Other studies have had small sample sizes, relied on questionnaires from a single time point, or didn't account for environmental factors, which can definitely influence both sleep timing and mood, potentially confounding results. Each 1 hour earlier sleep midpoint, halfway between bedtime and wake time, corresponded with a 23% lower risk of major depressive disorder. This suggests that if someone who normally goes to bed at 1 a.m. goes to bed at midnight instead and sleeps the same duration, they could cut their risk by 23% if they go to bed by 11, but they could cut it about 40%. It's unclear from the study whether those who are already early risers could benefit from getting up even earlier. But for those in the intermediate range or evening range, shifting to an earlier bedtime would likely be helpful. So what could explain this effect? Some research suggests that getting greater light exposure during the day, which early risers tend to get, results in a cascade of hormonal impacts that can influence the mood. Others note that having a biological clock or circadian rhythm that trends differently than most people's can itself be depressing. We live in a society that is designed for morning people, and evening people often feel as if they are in a constant state of misalignment with their societal clock, said Douglas. He stresses that a large randomized clinical trial is necessary to determine definitely whether going to bed early can reduce depression. But the studies definitely shifts the weight of evidence towards supporting a causal effect of sleep timing on depression. For those wanting to shift themselves to an earlier sleep schedule, Reddit offers this advice. Keep your days bright and your nights dark, she says. Have your morning coffee on the porch, walk or ride your bike to work if you can, and definitely dim those electronics in the evening. All right, and next in news, we have 4 science-backed ways to identify and stop negative self-talk. The road to self-love is a winding one. I had to bring this up, so let's continue. With self-talk as a navigation system, it's no secret that the way we communicate with ourselves plays a major role in the way we see and experience the world around us. That's why being mindful of these very delicate words we use on a regular basis is extremely important. Yet there are times when negative self-talk can get the best of us, and that's completely normal. Unfortunately, there's no switch to completely turn off our negative self-talk, but the most important thing we can do in these instances is get mindful. So usually negative self-talk is so automatic that it happens outside of consciousness awareness. The first step is to practice being mindful of these thoughts as they happen at the moment. So personalizing. Personalizing is basically when it's not you, it's me becomes your mantra. If something bad occurs, you automatically blame yourself. For instance, right? If you text the group chat and everyone takes much longer to reply than normal, you start thinking to yourself, everyone is mad at me. The tricky thing about negative self-talk is that it can come in many forms, according to Mayo Clinic. There are four main ones to be exact. So we have personalizing, filtering, catastrophizing, and polarizing. Probably mad. So in the beginning, you're probably mad at me and they clearly don't want to be friends with me anymore. When in fact, they or could be just having a very busy day. That's personalizing. And I've seen that even on social media posts where you're posting something about someone or you're not responding to someone and automatically someone feels that it's against them and it has nothing to do with them. So next, filtering. With filtering, you can magnify the negative aspects of a situation and filter out all of the positive ones. For example, if you're trying to save money and go over budget by $50, you might get caught up on that instead of the fact that you still put $200 away in savings. Every accomplishment, no matter if they are big or small, can outweigh the negative. So when you begin to look at the glass half full instead of half empty, life will feel so much rewarding. And next is catastrophizing. Catastrophizing with you automatically anticipate the worst. For example, on the way to the office, the trains get stops underground and you immediately assume that you'll be stuck for hours. Now this is funny because literally I just had a conversation with someone close to me in the family, and the conversation was this: I have to go to this place and I'm going to be here forever. I'll speak to you whenever I get out of here, if I ever get out of here. No, I turned it around and said, no, you'll get out of there and you're going to have someone who's going to help you. You're going to go in, you're going to get out, and you'll be home before I even get home. And guess what happened? She texted me and told me to start playing lotto. Yes. So it's all about how your mindset is, right? Polarizing. With polarizing, you see things only as good or bad. There is no middle ground. It's the feeling that you have to be perfect or you're a total failure. For example, if you've been getting up early all week and one morning you feel the need to get a few more Z's and hit the snooze, suddenly you feel as though this made you a lazy person. But no, go ahead, get the rest. Sometimes you just need the rest. Stop blaming yourself for things. In this instances, you've got to treat yourself with kindness. So if you don't do something perfectly, reassure yourself that you're only human and it's okay. So next we're going to end it with sports and community. Clippers claw back into series. And Kawhi Leonard and Paul George combined for 65 points as the Los Angeles Clippers show they still have some fight left, beating the Utah Jazz 132-106 in Game 3 of the National NBA, the playoff series. Leonard finished with 34 points and 12 assists, and George had 31 for the Clippers, who had little room for ever heading into Saturday's game. In front of a pandemic limited crowd of 8,000 at Staples Center Arena in downtown Los Angeles. The Clippers put themselves in a deep peril by losing the first two games of the Western Conference second round series, and they are not out of trouble yet as the Jazz are the top seeded team after finishing the regular season with 52 wins. Game 4 is Monday at Staples Center. Reggie Jackson and Nicholas Batum added 17 points each for the Clippers in the win. The Jazz were playing without guard Mike Conley, who sat out his third straight game with a sore hamstring. Donovan Mitchell scored 30 points but missed the final 7 minutes after turning his right ankle. The 24-year-old Mitchell was averaging 41 points heading into Game 3 after scoring 37 in Game 2 and 45 points in Game 1. He became the first Jazz player to score at least 35 points in back-to-back playoff games since Karl Malone accomplished the feat 3 straight times during the 1988 playoffs. Wow. And next in community news, we have Fernandez secures state funding for local libraries. Assemblywoman Athalia Fernandez, she announced Thursday that the allocation of $10,000 to each of the local libraries in the 80th Assembly District. Libraries are cornerstones of a healthy community. They are safe havens for so many people and provide many valuable resources beyond just books. Fernandez said, as our communities start coming back after this pandemic, we need to ensure that our libraries are more equipped than ever to continue servicing our communities. I am proud to be able to provide this funding to help bring our libraries back. The New York Public Library is eager to continue to welcome patrons back to our branches and embrace a new chapter of service. The pandemic has made it all too clear that New Yorkers need their libraries, and more than ever, and we look forward to a summer of renewal. Your generous funding support will help the Pelham Parkway, Van Ness, Allerton, Morris Park, and Moshulu libraries provide even more essential programs and services for the community. These libraries were awarded funding through a program passed in this year's state budget for targeted aid via education funding, referred to as Bullet Aid. The funding will go to various programs within each library. And you have watched Millennium TV 24 with a New Era News and Kim Seabrook, and we will be closing out, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in.